In February of 2018, a YouTuber named Greg Harris uploaded a rather disturbing video titled "Almost Got Decapitated by Wire Booby Trap" on an ATV trail on his channel Greg Harris Florida. Greg often shares videos of his daily activities in various locations across North America. In this particular video, he uploaded GoPro footage of himself riding his ATV on a trail somewhere in the United States. The video begins with Greg speeding along an off-road section on his ATV. However, as he ventures deeper into the woods, his ride is suddenly interrupted by something quite alarming. Upon closer inspection of the footage, it's evident that a metal wire had been set up between the two trees, which caught on Greg's helmet and forced him to stop. In the description of his video, Greg later noted how incredibly lucky he was that the wire broke, as it had become entangled beneath the chin of his helmet. Fortunately, thanks to his helmet and the reduced speed he had while making the turn, combined with the wire being aligned right at his helmet, he avoided a potentially life-threatening injury from the wire. It may seem shocking that anyone would consider setting up a lethal booby trap on an ATV trail, but unfortunately encounters of this nature are more common than one might think within the dirt bike community. Sometimes these traps are set up by property owners trying to keep bikers off their land, or by individuals who become infuriated with the loud noise and resort to violence against the riders. In circumstances like this, it is difficult to determine who might have placed the trap. This is a scenario where, had the wire been placed just a bit lower, or if Greg had been riding a little faster, the accident could have had much more serious consequences. Thankfully, Greg was able to walk away with only minor injuries. In May of 2018, a British YouTuber named CJ uploaded a very bizarre video titled "Fixing My Fridge in a Haunted Forest" on his channel Project Amber. CJ's channel primarily documents his travels and camping experiences across Europe as he travels out of his camper van. What sets his channel apart from other exploration channels is his dog named Lance. CJ always brings Lance along wherever he goes, and the two of them never travel without one another. His videos typically highlight the beauty of nature and have a relaxed and pleasant vibe to them. However, in this particular video, that was far from the truth. In the video, CJ was driving through the French countryside in his camper van when he noticed that his mini fridge was not working. He immediately pulled over to fix it. The spot where he stopped was in the middle of a rural forest, with no one else in sight for many miles. As CJ stepped out of the van to fix the fridge, his dog began to act very strangely. The dog stared intently at a well located close to where he had parked the van. This strange behavior caught CJ off guard, and this is when things started to take a very bizarre turn for CJ.
I'm going to give it the full 24 hours, I think, to... What are you looking at? You keep freaking me out, dog. There's no one over there. Have you seen someone? I'm not. There's actually a well. Just where I'm parked, you go down this little track, and there's a well with a big metal bar on it. And originally I was going to go and park there, and I saw the well. Instantly started thinking about the ring, which when I was about, I don't know, I think it was about 10 when it came out, scared the out of me. For like a month I didn't sleep properly, and now the dog keeps looking over in that direction at where it is. So I'm like, nah mate, I might move, but I can't.
As CJ's dog continued to stare at the well, he mentioned that there was an abandoned well nearby, sealed with a heavy metal cover. Eventually, things returned back to normal, and CJ brushed off the strange occurrences he had been witnessing. As he worked on fixing his fridge, he decided to spend the night there. However, the next day, things took a turn for the worse when CJ began hearing mysterious sounds coming from the abandoned well.
Okay, I'm seriously freaked out now. A minute ago I could hear like really loud moaning, like "Aah!" like just booming across the mountains. So I've come down to where I could hear it. I got to this old well and it stopped. But just as soon as I got here, just from over there, there's no track or anything, it's just wood. This girl appeared, dressed like kind of like a monk, no shoes, and no hair. So I said bonjour and that, and she responded. I asked if she was okay, but she didn't respond then, she just carried on walking. So I carried on a bit and then thought I better double check. Went to go and find her again. She's gone. That way, that's where my van is, and that goes to the road. But down where she went that way, there's nothing, and there's nothing for miles. Where did she go?
After hearing mysterious noises coming from the well, CJ immediately went down to investigate the source of the noises. However, just as he approached the well, the sounds abruptly stopped. During this time, he spotted a girl dressed like a monk, barefoot and with no hair, who seemed to appear out of nowhere and walked into the woods. CJ called out to her, but she didn't respond and continued walking away into the distance. Concerned that the girl might be lost or having some type of mental trouble, he decided to follow her. However, by the time he reached the spot where she had mysteriously disappeared. Not only had the girl vanished, but there were also no footprints or signs of anyone's presence. Plus, the location where she disappeared was a relatively open area in the woods that stretched out for miles. Disturbed by what he had just witnessed, CJ decided to leave the woods. As he was walking back to his van, he saw the girl again, and this time recorded the disturbing encounter.
I have not got a clue what was going on there. That was so weird. The well, the moaning from the forest, the girl. Maybe there's an explanation to it all, but I wasn't sticking around. I left, I booted it. I'm about 50 miles from there now. I saw the girl another 2 times. The last time I was near the van and she was running through the forest. I left. I was gone. I was gone so fast, I didn't even pack the van away. Yeah, it's a pretty big mess in here. But I do have a working fridge. The fridge is working. It's nice and cold now.
CJ mentioned that he saw the same girl 2 more times after filming her, and the last time he encountered her, she was running into the woods. After this encounter, CJ quickly hopped into his van and drove away without even packing all his belongings in the back. He also mentioned that his dog is typically very friendly and approaches people playfully. However, on this day, his dog seemed anxious and kept staring in the direction where the woman had gone. The identity of the girl and whether CJ's experience was paranormal remains a mystery. Many comments on his video point out that CJ's videos focus exclusively on his van life, and this is the only one of this kind and has no reason to fake his content. However, these claims regarding the paranormal are not confirmed or verified and are merely theories and speculations. Consequently, the truth about the girl continues to be an unsolved mystery.
I was down in my tent, not asleep, listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there.
This right here is a YouTuber named Phil, who in December of 2021 uploaded a video titled Creepy Night in the Woods on his channel Hike Slam. His channel primarily focuses on outdoor exploration, and he regularly shares footage of his hiking and camping experiences throughout North America. In this particular video, Phil chose to go on a solo overnight hike along the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. He starts the video by venturing deep into the woods in search of a suitable camping location for the night. The first few minutes of his hike seemed to go smoothly, and everything appeared to be quite normal. However, about 30 minutes into the hike, he stumbles upon some peculiar trash along the trail. Oddly enough, some of the containers he discovers have writing on them that resembles song lyrics and poems. Nevertheless, Phil chooses to ignore the peculiar writing and carries on with his hike. As he explores further, he encounters another set of strange notes and writings as he approaches the campsite. This time, however, Phil notices a dead duck lying next to the notes, and this is when things start to take a very disturbing turn for Phil.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed. Alright. Kind of creepy.
After discovering another set of disturbing writings and cryptic poems, Phil finds a dead duck lying next to them. At that moment, he notices a campsite just a few yards away from the notes and the dead duck. It's unclear whether the person who wrote the notes is also responsible for killing the duck. Nevertheless, Phil decides to keep his distance from the campsite and continues on his hike. As he makes his way up the trail, he encounters 2 women hiking down the trail.
Okay, well that was really weird. So as I was hiking toward the shelter, these 2 women were hiking in the opposite direction. They had a little dog with them. They asked if I had seen the guy who was leaving the notes. I said he has a campsite down by the river. They were shocked I was still considering camping out there, but they said that they were kind of freaked out and asked if I would go with them and walk past his campsite so they could get back to their car. So I did, and then when I got back to my truck, and I'm actually on the Appalachian Trail, just going the opposite direction. But I'm just going to find the closest camp spot to where I'm at because the sun is going down and set up camp and yeah, settle in for the night.
Phil mentioned that the two women asked him if he had seen a man leaving disturbing notes and dead animals. When he told them he noticed a campsite just a few yards away from the notes, the women, afraid for their lives, asked him to walk back to their car with them. Phil agreed and walked back with them before heading in the opposite direction to find a safer place to camp for the night. Once Phil arrived at the shelter, he set up camp for the night and enjoyed his dinner, far away from the unsettling notes. Later that night, Phil went into the shelter to check out the camp log and read some of the notes and stories left by other hikers. That's when Phil discovered something extremely disturbing once again.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. All right, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
It's important to note that the shelter where Phil is currently located is more than 2 miles away and is situated entirely on the opposite side of the road from the notes and ducks he saw earlier. The handwriting in the camp log is identical to the handwriting he found in the previous notes and trash. The situation becomes increasingly disturbing as Phil starts to read through the logbook.
In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail, what the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15. Here in early 2017, Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One for a trip to Palm Springs. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of little Mrs. Wolf. In the past, the Russian collusion assertion have been followed up on many occasions with the advancement of illusions that would show discord in fiction between the colluding parties. You're falling faster. Obey your master. What the heck? Okay, that's crazy.
After reading the logbook, it's evident that a convicted felon has been wandering through the woods, leaving disturbing notes all over the place. The writing raises concerns about his mental stability, which is particularly alarming considering that Phil is alone in the middle of nowhere at night and doesn't seem to have anything to defend himself with. As Phil walked back to the shelter, he noticed a bottle hanging from a string on the ceiling. Attached to it was a note in the same handwriting as before. That read, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." Disturbed by everything he was witnessing, Phil was overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. He ultimately decided to return to his tent and call it a night. However, as he tried to fall asleep, he heard footsteps approaching the shelter right next to his tent.
Okay, I'm out on the trail. It's the middle of the night. I was down in my tent listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody down by the shelter. So at first I had to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there. So I packed up all my stuff and I walked past. As I walked past, I did look. It did look like a single guy hanging out in the shelter. He had a headlamp on. All I could really see was the light from the headlamp, so I could have been wrong. So I don't know. I just got out of there.
After hearing footsteps outside his tent, Phil peeked out and noticed a man with a headlamp wandering around the shelter. Unsure if this was the same individual who had been leaving notes, he quickly gathered his things and headed back to his truck. Fortunately for Phil, he was not being followed or stalked and returned home safely. As of the time this video was uploaded, Phil has not gone back to the Appalachian Trail. The identity of the person who left the creepy notes and killed the duck remains unclear, and since Phil never found out the truth behind these disturbing experiences, this mystery might remain unsolved.
I was just woken up because I heard a car pull up, and as soon as I drew the curtains back, they drove off. Like, what, they just think that there's just some random van parked here that they might be able to break into, or it's a little bit freaky.
In February of 2024, a YouTuber named Sean uploaded a pretty disturbing video titled "A Stranger Locked Me Inside My Van" on his channel Love Sundays. He frequently uploads footage of his solo stealth camping experiences in his camper van. In this video, Sean decided to stealth camp in the woods somewhere in the UK. He begins the video by parking his van alongside the road and then heads into the woods to explore. After wandering for a while, Sean returns to his van to prepare dinner and decides to go to bed around 9 p.m. However, at 3 in the morning, he is awakened by the sound of a car approaching his van, and this is when things begin to take a turn for the worse for Sean.
Cars just pulled up, and it sounds like they're walking around the van.
I was just woken up because I heard a car pull up. It was at the front of the van, and as soon as I drew the curtains back, they drove off. Like, what, they just think that there's just some random van parked here that they might be able to break into, or I don't know. But it's a little bit freaky, but I don't want somebody breaking in thinking there's no one in here, because that would be a right pain. Hopefully I'll get a good night's sleep.
Upon hearing footsteps approaching his van, Sean quickly drew back the curtains. To his surprise, when he leaned out the window to investigate, the car immediately drove away, leaving him alone for the remainder of the night. Believing he was safe, Sean decided to go back to sleep. However, it wasn't until the following morning that he discovered what they had done to his van.
I slept surprisingly well, considering after that car pulled up outside and then drove off, I didn't hear anything else for the rest of the night. So from then I actually slept all right. Right, well, I think we should at least go outside and see how miserable the weather is. My door's stuck. What the actual see that? I don't even think I can shut the door now. So when I said I got left alone last night, it doesn't look like I did get left alone, does it? I didn't even hear anyone out on the side door. Right, I've got to work out how to do this. Tell you what, it's a good job I haven't got a bulkhead. There we go. So there's obviously just people wanting to f*** about and just be funny, I guess, but how dangerous is that, locking someone in their van? Let me check the back door. Well, there's nothing on this one because they wouldn't have been able to tie it to anything, would they? There's no way they could have done that door anyway.
It's still uncertain why anyone would want to trap a stranger in their van at 3 in the morning. After Sean returned home and reviewed the footage, he noticed something he had previously overlooked. If you look closely at the fuel cap on his van, you can clearly see fingerprints all over it, suggesting that someone might have been attempting to steal diesel from the van. They also placed zip ties to lock the door, in case Sean became aware of the situation and tried to escape to confront them. To make matters even more disturbing, one particular comment left on his video stated that the individuals who locked him in attempted to open his fuel tank, potentially intending to burn it. However, it's very unlikely that anyone would do something this sinister. Since Sean never fully uncovered their true motives, this mystery may remain unresolved.
Go away! No! No! Okay. This is when I die.
This right here is a YouTuber named Kyle Burgess, who in October of 2022 uploaded a video titled Cougar Encounter in Utah on his channel Cougar Kyle. In the video, Kyle was jogging on a trail early in the morning in Provo when he believed he saw a baby bobcat in front of him. He quickly grabbed his phone to capture it on video, but soon realized it was actually a baby cougar, and alarmingly, the mother cougar showed up shortly after he started filming. This is when things took a turn for the worse for Kyle.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh f***! Oh f***! Oh! No! Get the f*** away! Get the f*** away! Holy shit! Go! 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 No! No! Go away! Go away! Please go away! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh. You're a good little kitty cat. Oh. Holy. What's up, dude? Oh. Holy shit. Nice and slow. Come on. Ah! Go get your babies. I'm not coming back down, I promise.
As soon as Kyle spots the approaching cougar, he slowly backs away and tries his best to scare the animal off with loud noises. However, the cougar remains completely unfazed and continues to track him. At one point in the video, the cougar lunges at him when Kyle briefly turns his head to avoid tripping while backing up. This momentary distraction prompts the cougar to attack and close in, coming within just a few feet of him.
You're a scary kitty cat. Holy no, go away! Go away! No! No! You, dude! Okay. This is when I die. No! Get the away! Stupid kitty cat. Holy, come on, dude. I don't feel like dying today. Go eat your babies. Go away. No, you face, dude. Trying to attack me, your eyes look away from you. Dude, this is scary. My heart is racing. Go get your babies, go away. Oh, damn. I just wanted to go on a run. You're not getting me, dude. I'm ready to go down. Yeah, get the away from me. Face. Oh, damn it.
Fortunately for Kyle, the cougar eventually ran off after he threw a rock at it. This terrifying encounter lasted for a full 6 minutes. Encounters of this nature can be quite dangerous and may result in worse situations if a person attempts to run out of fear or does not appear intimidating, as this could trigger the animal's instinct to chase and attack. Nonetheless, Kyle remained notably composed throughout the 6 minutes and successfully scared the cougar away without being harmed or attacked.